lying naked on the floor. Alrighty, we have a light we're going to be putting above a workbench. It's LED. This cord is going to be plugged into a switched outlet. And we have another shop light that's going to be hanging above the workbench with a nice long cord on it. And we're going to want them all controlled by a switch. And these two lights are going to be plugged into a switched outlet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to put an outlet on the top of this box here, so all the workbench lights can be turned on and off with a switch. So here in the country I was born in, on your power cords, your white is neutral, your green is the ground, and of course your black is your live conductor. And we're going to be using some outlets here that are made in the country I was born in. That's a nice thing to see, isn't it? So we'll just close the screws we're not going to be using. We're going to take these screws out because they're too long, because they'll hit these little bushings and Romex connector. So we're going to use a yellow wire, piece of yellow for our live conductor. So we'll strip off about 1 inch. And we'll cut off some white wire here about the same length. And we'll take off about 1 inch. And what we're going to do is white is our neutral wire. We'll put it on our silver screw, and that is the wider slot.
Get over here. Come on. Come here.
So you always make your loop the direction your screw turns.
The dogs want to go.
And we'll close our loop the direction our screw turns.
Yeah, you're going to go. Petey. Petey. Sit. Sit.
Okay, there we are. We have our neutral wire on the silver colored screw. Now we're going to put our conductor on the brass colored screw, which is our live wire. And we'll go around our brass screw. And again, we'll close our loop the direction our screw turns. And we have a very nice solid connection here. We have our wire around the screw the direction our screw turns, and our copper is under the screw head all the way around, and no insulation is pinched under the screw head. And we're going to use a piece of this white wire for our ground. Normally would use green, but we don't have any, so we'll just use this, and it's going to be connected to the green wire, so it's obvious it's going to be the ground. Oops, I nicked the copper, so I just cut it off. And we'll make our loop.
Get over here. Diesel.
Okay, so this is going to be our ground wire. It should be green, but if you don't have green, I'm going to just use this white because it's what we have. I'll strip it the same length as our wires under here are stripped. And I'll bring my jacket in here to make it easier to work with.
Yeah, right.
So we'll open it up. We'll get our ground wire up underneath here. And we're going to have to go up a size with our wire nuts. Okay, so we have our stranded wire wrapped around the copper, and all our copper is even at the end, and our insulation is even on the bottom. We'll take our wire nut, we'll just twist it on here. Make sure it's nice and snug. Now we'll do our neutral next, which is our white wire. Strip it the same length as the wires underneath here. Loosen up our wire nut here. Our wires are wrapped around everything evenly here, so we'll get our white wire down here. Okay, I cut it just a little long, so I will just clip a little off so it's even. And we'll get our yellow wire nut on here. Get it on here nice and tight. And next we'll get our black, which is our live conductor, and we'll hook it to our yellow wire. You want to make sure you get your insulation up under the bottom portion of the wire nut. So we get our copper even at the top, and our insulation even at the bottom, like this here. That's what we want right there. Get our insulation even at the bottom, and all our copper is even at the top. Take our wire nut. Make sure it's nice and tight. And now I'll just bring this back a little bit, back to where we had it to start. Get our cord centered in the Romex connector there. Get it centered so it's even pressure. There we go. Okay, so now we can just put our wires down into our box here. Let's just hope everything all fits in here. And it fits in here nicely. Get them moved back over here. There we go. Now we'll put our shorter screws in here so we don't hit anything. And make sure nothing is pinched in here. Get it centered on our box here so it's nice and neat. just take my screwdriver here and just make sure nothing is pinched. Okay, nothing's pinched. Our screws are on. And we'll just stick a cover on here now. Okay, we'll just make sure the wires aren't going to be touching anything we don't want them touching here. So now we'll get all our stuff off of here. Okay, get all on. There's our fixture all done. So now our second light from the first light that's plugged in can just simply be plugged in to this and hang above the other bench. So all the lights over the workbench can be turned on and off with a light switch. And we'll save this cover for another box.
No. No.
Alrighty, so that's our switched outlet up there. And here's the first bench. Here's the other
No,
part
I'm
of the
talking
bench.
to
And the
Petey.
second light is going to be hanging
David's
above
over on this
bench
part of the
and this here. And the first light is going to be over
building
that
here,
first bench.
and he's growling at him. And I'm not letting him do it. No. Do not.
So, how do you like my setup now? You plug this into your outlet that's controlled by a light switch. And we have our other shop light that will be plugged into this. So when you turn on and off the switch, all the workbench lights can be turned on and off at one time with a switch. So how do you like that arrangement I made up?
I like that. That's nice. That's good.
Stop.
Alrighty. Peace. Thanks for watching. I'll use this screenshot for the profile picture.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right. Me and her are going to go get out of here.
Yep.